Good morning, everybody. Welcome to morning. Well, this isn't morning jumpstart. This is the time of morning jumpstart. Today's our landscape demo. I'm Jason Meyer, and over here in the dark, for some reason, we're running a little bit behind, so we didn't get to light her right. But we're still gonna have a good demo this morning. So this morning is day 2 on our moonscape. It's been 7 days since I've worked on this. It's nice and dry. So I can just make sure all the dust and junk's kind of off of it. And I've already checked the glare. Doesn't really need to be oiled out. There was plenty of medium in that first layer, so that held just fine. Before we got started, I quickly got started with some of my major piles, but it was way too quick. It was way too quick. So we'll see how it goes. I'm a little bit out of sorts right now. You know, some days you're into it, some days you're not. And so when I'm not feeling like totally into it, what I do is I just go slow. I don't force my way and ruin this thing. And if something happens and nothing goes right, I'll put it aside and work on something else. Right? Some days we have those days to where, man, we just can't get it going. But we work anyway. We work anyway. So let's see what happens. What's happening here this morning? Claudia was here early, I think. So, okay, let us know how you do. Let's see your piles. And remember, when you get yours done, get that in for a Friday feedback this Friday. We're going to have, yesterday was the portrait, today's the landscape, tomorrow will be the still life demo. Then we'll do the Friday feedback in class Friday from 8 to 10. Shakti, good morning, good morning. Ellie's probably there too. Good morning, Miss Ellie. Miss Susan Schaefer, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And Peggy, good morning. So hopefully you can hear us now, Peggy. I think she's having some audio problems, but we'll be good now. So let's get into this. We'll see how verbal I am today. I'm going to kind of go for it. If you have questions or you need to know something, you can type it in the chat. Again, Cindy's back there taking care of you guys, so she can keep an eye on the chat and everything and maybe answer some of your questions if I can't. Last month, we spent the whole month going over color. So I'm not going to put my mind in that space to where I explain to you exactly what colors I'm mixing, because when I'm really working, my mind's not actually in that space. I think a little bit differently. So I'm going to see if I can get in that space and show you how I would do day 2. Let's see. Let's give it a go. All right, I think I'll start down here. Like I said, it was such a fast kind of get ready this morning that I'd like to get a little better foundation down here. Some better starting piles. So if you guys tuned into Masterworks last night, we went through a wide variety of moonscapes. Just to show you there's not one way to paint, it's not really a moonscape. We're not painting the surface of the moon, but it's a landscape with the moon in it, with moonlight. Part of that's some of this getting a little bit closer. Alright, as the light's not as bright, the color and the clarity isn't quite there. Did I forget to say anything this morning, sweetie?
No.
Okay. You gotta keep me in line today because my mind is, I don't know where it's at. It's floating around somewhere. Nowhere to be found.
It's that kind of morning. I get it.
Okay. And again, these aren't exactly particular colors, but kind of master piles I'll work out of and adjust and influence the other piles with. You gotta be an influencer, man. Okay, you guys doing okay? You're nice and awake. Don't be falling asleep on me. We need to do some push-ups before we get started. Maybe that's why I didn't do. I didn't even have time to get my exercises in. Oof, that's where the brain's all foggy. The blood's not flowing. The blood's not flowing. All right, we're gonna start darker, and I know that looks almost the same really to you guys. But there's a slight value difference. Not much, but slight. I want to bring this one up more. Moss, more. Oh, you have to unmute. Oh, this is on YouTube, not the school.
Yeah, but I sent her a picture with the
Okay.
YouTube.
All right, now I'm getting warmed up a little bit. I'm starting to feel better. Like I got a warm hug or something. It'll be okay. Let's see. I want to be careful here because I don't want to go too light too fast. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. Let's put her to the test. So we're working with more or less a twist on the orange, green, purple triad. We have black and white. I'm calling all of this orange. Again, how I use that word orange. Orange is actually the hue on the color wheel, but how I'm using it in this context is we have an orange direction we can go in. We have a green direction we can go in. And we have a purple direction we can go in. This is ultramarine blue, so it's not really purple. Like I said, I've skewed some of these things, but we want to think of these as a direction to go in rather than a color that exists on a map that never changes. Because these things change constantly depending on what they're around and basically what's around, who's around. They'll go from good to bad fast. You got to be careful who influences these guys. All right, how are we doing? Everybody okay? Everybody still awake? Okay. So let's, I think from here, we're going to go on to, oh, I'm not going to mess with that. Not going to mess. Let's go on to this shot. Give you guys the whole enchilada there. And our reference. Now, when I show the reference, again, important to remember, we're painting an idea. I am not trying to match the color in that sky with my sky. Right? I'm not trying to match the color of the water to the color of the water in the reference. I have an idea, a balance, and I'm working towards that aesthetic balance and executing that idea, and not for copying what I'm seeing. So today is about clarifying the idea, and how appropriate. Come in all foggy on clarifying day. So let's see what happens. So since I think what I'll do is I'm going to find kind of the darks in the corners, these darks down there. And again, I'll start, and when I feel, okay, I'm going to go. Yesterday I kind of said the same thing on the portrait, and it turned out I was off and running within, I think, 2 or 3 brush strokes. We'll see. So there's a lot to learn, and then just to make things more fun, when you're painting, when you get to the painting, I mean, we did studies, we did color studies, we did composition studies. We have to be open. We have to be seeing our own work. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. I hope that makes sense and is like super obvious, like, duh. But we're so in our head, we usually do not see what's right in front of us. So the point of study is to work it out in your head so that when you execute, you can just get right out of your head. All right, so look how dark. I don't know if you can see that. That's relatively dark on there. So what I can do is just make sure, like, these edges, no activities around the edges. Right, and this lets me warm up my feel for the brush. Right, just like an athlete warms up. We've got to warm ourselves up, our minds up, what we're thinking about and how we're thinking about it. Warm our bodies up. I know it doesn't look like that, but this is an elite form of fitness right here. You gotta warm yourself up. Okay. Yeah, so see, I'm not hurting anything. We're getting that glow going. I'm waking up. I'm feeling good. We got all you good people here wanting to learn to paint. Don't get no better than that. So even right here on the palette, I'm feeling the brush and getting my whole system warmed up here. Excuse me?
We're getting in tune.
Again, I'm tuning up. Cindy's been waiting for me to tune up for how many years now, sweetie?
Stop.
She's a patient woman. Patient woman.
Oh my gosh.
She laughs because it's true. She
No, I
laughs.
don't.
She laughs because it's true.
No, I'm thinking of like the Cars movie.
The Cars movie.
Yeah, like never mind. It's a Disney thing.
Opposites do attract.
That's true.
Cindy and I are solid.
I got you, babe.
Good. All right, excellent. All right. So now we've straightened out all of our couples problems now. We can get back to painting. We just gotta have a good time, right? And sometimes if you're kind of a little foggy or out of it, a little levity never hurt. You don't want to lose focus, but a little levity. All right. I know this appears dark, guys, but once we start hitting things, look, see my hands? It's just because it's up here. But that's going to give us a chance to have this thing glow. If you don't have this thing disappearing, if you don't have invisible, your visible is going to be a lot less effective. And believe it or not, if everything is invisible, if everything's invisible, then everything's visible. If everything's visible, then things like if there was a red sky and a bright green, how visible is my moon going to be? But if all those things are turned down, quieted, right, then that moon is going to be more effective. And our job as the artist is to find, okay, how much color versus how much impact? How much peace versus how much impact? Okay, we can get these values and things down relatively quickly if we're taught right and we practice. But the real work of the artist is the decision making. Is this a moody painting? Or is this, a joyful summer full moon painting out along the boardwalk? It's up to you. Well, right now it's up to me. But when you're in front of your canvas, it's up to you. And that's what's, I think, the most important thing to realize is, there's ways to do some things and things you can learn, but it's up to you. What do you want to paint? And then it's up to you to watch yourself paint that over and over again and see the finished works and figure out if that idea you had is really worth painting. Does it make a good painting idea, or was there another idea that could produce more beautiful results? Right? Because ultimately, we're going to judge those ideas on the visual results on the board.
Peggy has a question.
What's the question, Peggy?
Are you putting on medium alone, or do you have paint on brush?
No, I have a little bit of paint, but it's almost more of a stain. And again, up here, one of the things you'll learn by working in, in stages, is if I know where my thin paint is, then in every stage I'm using thin paint. If I know where my flatter paint is, then in every stage I'm going to try to get flatter paint. If there's some paint that needs some body, well, then every stage we're going to let that paint have a little more body. I hope that makes sense. And since this is sky, we really don't want you looking. We want that kind of going. We do want it to hold the light. We don't want thick paint there. So I'm starting off really thin and really slow, just like I might start a blank canvas of size and placement. Really thin, really light, just warming up. Hope that helps. Hope that helps. So I'm going to kind of, am I? Slow down there, buckaroo. Slow down, buckaroo. Okay, so this is a bit lighter here on my brush. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this down to this end. So this can even be lighter, grayer. And if I continue this, then guess what? It's no longer lighter, grayer. It's lighter, grayer right now because this is different than that. Tricky, huh? Tricky. Okay. So is that even reading for you guys? Are you seeing that, sweetie, on your screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've got so many lights in my face, sometimes it's hard for me to see if you guys are picking this up. so I'd like to start introducing a little bit of green. Not too much, and that looks a little too, because we got to separate from the ocean. You gotta separate from the ocean, man. And here again, what I'm, you can probably barely see this, but it's almost just a hue difference. The values are almost identical. And this green is feeling a little bit cold to me right now, but I'm putting it on top of red or orange, right? That burnt umber. So of course it's going to read a little bit cooler. But you know what Grandpa used to say?
Oh no.
He'd say, just chill out, man. Were you worried, son?
A little.
Okay. Grandpa used to say a lot of things, so.
I didn't know what kind of Monday morning or Tuesday morning Grandpa was having.
Yeah. All right. Excuse me?
I'm just doing Linda.
Oh. Let's see. We're going to need to still think about our design. What are we going to do? We're going to shoot over the moon. Over the moon. All right, and now I'm just pushing this material around. I'm watching it fall off my brush. I'm seeing what kind of marks it leaves, what kind of designs, edges. Is it interesting? Am I boring these people to death? Or are they just getting so excited they can barely stay in their seat? Right? Those things don't happen by accident. And they'll never happen at all unless you have some intention for that to happen. Then after you have the intention, you got to figure out how. How to execute it. I have this thing that I want to do. What is it going to take to do it? And that's a good place for learning to happen. Right there. This is bothering me because it's the same, almost the same distance from the moon. So we're going to scoot this one over a little bit. Maybe even let it silhouette a little moonlight there. That cool, baby?
That's cool.
You're cool. Silhouette. Better than a poke in the eye. I hope.
Yes.
Lighter grayer. So what I'm doing here is setting up a size in front so that we can watch these sizes diminish. I don't think I will, but I mean, if we wanted to, we could even write some grass and shrubbery here up over the moon. But that's going to change all of our designs and everything. So just because you can do something, you know, slow down, make sure we want to do it. Right, but I do want it big enough to break the plane there of that going around. Yeah. So we can go from here to there to deet deet.
What was that?
Deet deet. Told you, I'm not feeling very verbal, yo.
I like sound effects.
Okay, so it's just a little stuff happening right there, not like my white fingers. Just do, right, with the hue. Red, green, red, or excuse me, orange, green, orange, green, orange, green, orange, green. Just same value. Now after we do, we gotta be cool out here, man. Look at that peaceful ocean. All right, get off that land and let's float a little bit. Let's get our float on. So what does floating look like tonight? So the first thing I'm going to do is check my green right here. Oh, blinding you guys, sorry. There we go. Check our green right here. Okay, and that's about where we were. It is a little lighter grayer. And so since we want to go this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little color right here that's going to help pull us over and back. Right? Did you realize that you can control people by just adding more color somewhere and then leaving the other stuff around it grayer, weaker, not as impactful? There's all kinds of ways you can control people. Hang around a little while, I'll show you how. You too can control people.
Paint is the nicest way.
So when I say control, I'm joshing, but we are talking about controlling the viewer's eye. Right, so as I come back through here, I put this all the way through there for some continuity and space. But I will let this probably go grayer and quieter and this have a little bit more oomph. When we get to that point, we're not there yet, but we're headed in that direction. So I'm going to influence this with a little sky colors. It moves back into the sky. A lot of influence there, so I'm going to go ahead and put that towards the back of the ocean. Alright, and it'll go through if there's any sky holes in that tree. Okay, so we're going to call the back of the ocean there. Okay, and then so I think what I'm going to do, just to keep these things close, there's not a lot on my brush, but I'm going to go ahead and rub a little bit of this into the sky right now. So then when I put that sky color and it hits this, it automatically is going to go closer to that ocean color. How stinking clever is that? Pretty stinking clever.
Very.
Too bad I wouldn't want to think about it. But you guys don't know that. You guys don't know that. You probably do. You probably do. Okay, yeah, you see the silhouette coming out now? Yeah. Yeah, it's a sort of storytelling, but it's like a storytelling without the story. It's we're trying to lead them more to a direct experience without the verbal language getting in the way, right? But the clearer that direct, the clearer your vision is on the experience you're trying to transmit to them, the more powerful the work comes out. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Is almost more than a story. Like a story would be more of an illustration, right? I think of fine art, and again, there's all kinds of arguments here. I'm not going to fist fight with anybody this morning about it, but I think of fine art as more looking for that direct experience versus the story. Right? So it's really not about the details and this and that. But it's more about almost in a way shocking somebody, but it's just shocking because they've abruptly ended up in this space, whatever you created. So did you create space where color's punching them in the face like a billion times and they go, oh, this is so fun? Or are you taking them to a space that's full of peace and acceptance and understanding? Some of you may know that the moon is a common symbolism. Well, it's common symbolism for a lot of things, but enlightenment being one of those things. Right? Or kind of understanding the ultimate nature of things, if you will. Right? Because how are you going to paint the nature of things if you don't see the nature of things? You can only paint what you see. You're only going to see what you're looking for. So, is what you're looking for worth painting? That's really the question this comes down to. And then over time, you learn to refine things so that the experience you're giving or portraying to the viewer is an experience that's worth having. Right? It's valuable. They get something from it. Right? And in some cases, you know, the collector can get prestige because of name this. But, you know, the real pieces of art, it's not about the artist that created them. Right? On the real pieces of art, the artist wasn't anywhere near that canvas. And what I mean by that is the artist got out of the way. One of my favorite sayings is that when you start to paint, there's just a room full of people. Critics, teachers, friends, fellow painters, family. And if you're really painting one by one, they're going to get up and leave the room. And if you're really painting, you're going to get up and leave the room. And what that means is that there really is no you there. That you are just entirely in the flow and it is happening. And to me, that's where art happens. And not art in like anything somebody makes as art. In art as in, oh my God, I saw this and it changed my life. Seek and you shall find. But the question is what you're seeking worth finding? Are the answers you're seeking worth getting? Or are your answers producing paintings you don't want to paint? Right? If your paintings look like you don't want them to look, then that means you're searching for something. You're not searching for the right thing. All right, so what do we know? What do we know? You know, flat paint will attract the eye. We know we want this to disappear. One way we can make these lights have more activity is to take the activity out around them. Right? One of the ways we can have this have more activity is to take that activity out. Okay, let's see, where was I? We're going to come forward from that a little bit. Let's see, and this is kind of strong, so why don't we put some of this color over here, again, because this is where we want to be. And now that this color is a little bit dirty, not as clean as it was, I can introduce it to the parts where I don't want you looking. All right. Feels like it's coming forward to me. Feel like we're pushing this piece forward to you guys. All right. I feel like there's still a little too much activity in the sky to give us the focus we need. So let's take this out for sure. Sky's supposed to be purple. Okay, and the first time I put my brush down after I've mixed something new, it's a test. So I don't want to just put a big piece somewhere. I want to kind of test it out. Is this going to work? And again, so still thin paint here. Okay. So again, part of moon is the glow. So literally what I'm thinking about is this glow of the moon right now. And that's actually what I'm painting. Because it turns out that just painting the moon even isn't that interesting. But the moonlight, the mood, oh, now we're talking. Now we are talking. What I'm doing is just trying to make sure I hit the lightest spots, and then that other stuff can kind of scratch and scratch and skip. Scratch and sniff, that was stickers when I was a kid. Scratch and stiff Snickers, but that's not what we're talking about. Isn't it amazing how this is seemingly getting brighter and brighter and brighter? We haven't touched it. All we're doing is actually bringing this other stuff darker. And that's what's giving the effect of that looking brighter. All right, I think we're going to have some really nice glow if we can get rid of some of this activity up here. So I think for a large part of this, I just want that to kind of go away. Just go away. You have to go away. So what is it going to take to get that to go away? Excuse me. Yeah, that just seems a little bit too chromatic. You're harshing my chroma, man. Alright, let's see. Here we go. So this is going to be a case to where we're actually, believe it or not, more taking away right now than we are adding. See, we got a little, I thought I liked that, but now that we smoothen this out, I don't think I like the texture of that brush hair that got stuck in there a layer or two. Well, there's only one layer on here, but we'll take care of that. And noticing too, I'm not being too kind of symmetrical working around. That's another way you can really take the life out of your painting pretty quickly. We want to make sure that this paint looks good, and part of the goodness is these really thin layers with the slightly different colors and chromas, making it just, right, there's a lot happening in that night sky. It's just not a black blanket, man. There's some stuff happening out there. Big old universe out there. Big old universe. Ah. All right, Claudia's saying it's too dark. Guys, that's the point. That's the point. Right? That you can see that just fine. But the reason you can't see it right now is because it matches the value of what's behind it. You guys, and then when I put my hand in front of it, it's hard to video this because it is so subtle. But that's exactly what I'm doing, is I'm making stuff invisible where you can't see it. And that's what's going to make that as powerful as it is. That was something that frustrated me for a long time. Trying to figure, I can't see what's going on. Well, but that's the point. That's the point. Is we don't want you seeing it. We're taking it out. So sometimes people wonder why I don't just teach like I paint. Well, I'd probably have about 1.5 students. To do this right, it's extremely, doesn't always have to be slow, but there's places to where you just have to slow down. And there's not very many people with the attention span to sit there and just observe without having a million questions and trying to distract the artist. There's no room for distraction right now. My full concentration is the touch of this brush on this canvas. There's no room for any other activity. But most viewers and most students need more, need more. So I think really if you want to really improve, it's not about what's happening out here, but it's about what's happening in you. Ooh, I have a dirty napkin there. All right, you guys doing okay? I know, slow, but sometimes that's how it goes. But I'm actually extremely happy with what's happening right now. I am quite happy. Because I think it's effective. Let's see if I have some more light color come this way. So this is a little bit colorful here, but again, let's put it on the path of where I want them going, where we want them going. And then as we work it into what's there, it'll gray off, and then we can work on the parts of the canvas where we don't necessarily need them going. Again, with the idea of painting glow. So any of these other ideas I have, they're in service of the glow, or they add to the glow, but they're not going to take over what we're actually doing, which is painting the glow of the moon in the sky right now. And you've also got to be careful and not try to cover up every little hole too soon too, because the paint can get looking not so attractive. What word did I hear once? Clotted. I think I heard LaFell say, don't let it get clotted. And when I heard that word, all kinds of bells. Oh. Now let's take that out. Let's take that away. All right, let's see. Let's see. So you guys can do this. It's just a matter of kind of really slowing down and making sure your touch and that paint and all that's working in harmony. We get a send a little warmth into it, just to shake it up a bit. Yeah, the real work of the painter is, well, I mean, you can paint however you want to paint. But for me, I've always been quiet on the inside. Or part of me is really quiet. And I like to deeply study things and get into them. Right? I want to feel and know this paint that's going down. I want to walk with it. Right? Yeah, it could be just somebody that shows up in my house. They do some work, but I don't know. I don't think that's how masterpieces are born. And that was my question: is how do you make a masterpiece? How do they do that? How do they do that? All right, things are getting a little dry here. All right, if that happens, that'll just mean that some of the values may look a little bit off. But all this is done almost with stain on stain here. And really the only way to reverse is with the paper towel. So we don't want to get too much. It is a delicate matter, so to say, so to speak. Okay. All right, guys, so we're at about an hour, so I think this is a good minute for a break. I know people are getting a little bit tired. First of the morning, I should warn you, had more caffeine this morning. All right, Shakti's in for the slow pace. All right. And it looks like Susan is too. All right, well, we're going to keep going, and I'm going to show you guys because I do, this whole year of study together, I do want you guys to see, well, he says that, but then how does he do this? Right? It's such an open process, and you just have to be very slow and diligent as we go. So we'll continue after about a 5-minute break. Let's see if I can get my act together. Where's our 5-minute timer there? The 5-minute. Let's pause that baby. And we'll leave that up right there. And there we go. All right, guys, so we'll see you back in 5 minutes. we are back. We are back. So why don't we take a wide view? We'll take a close-up of the palette here in just a second. Oops. There we go. So as you back off a little bit and you get this next to some light, a value that's not the same, right? You can see there's some more visibility there. But I know when we're on that, you guys see the softness happening here? I don't have those hard, right? It takes a little bit of time to do that if you're going to get this progression right. Progression meaning the gradation from our light as we move out. Okay. So it's just time to keep going. Keep going. You guys hanging with me? So we'll go another hour. You guys might need to put some music on or something to keep you going. They'll get me for copyright if I do it for you. So I can have no music. I can have no music for you. And I'm sure if I sang for you, I would lose more than I'd gain. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Let's see. You know, I kind of like that little hold up here. That's kind of nice. Little release up here. Maybe just not quite so hard. Right? Some activities, not a bad thing. But it's a question of how much and to what degree. How much and to what degree? Do you see that subtle? That changed it, huh? That changed it. All right, I think we'll let that be for a little while. And then this is looking so out of place. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but it's reading really hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to... and what this is doing is this is going to harmonize it, saying the skylight's kind of hitting this. Alright, and that feels better to me. So do I really want that sand going all the way around? I feel like we've got enough right now. You know, I think that would have been too much, all of it. So I don't know how much of that white water that was on our composition that we want to take around there. I think these lights in the distance with some of the reflections on the water are going to probably be more than enough. More than enough. But we do need to, or do we? I was thinking we need to get those hills in there. I'm not so sure. I don't know. But I'm the boss, I guess, so we better figure it out. Better figure it out. Digging that just a little quieter, and then that light'll sing and hum in there. Yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Look, magically Cindy's back. They didn't even know you were gone because we were on the other screen.
I'm a ninja.
You are a ninja. You marry a ninja, you become a ninja. Hiya!
Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei. That's right. Okay. Quiet time, guys. Quiet time. Easier to see at an angle. Yeah, yeah. So did you see that, Claudia? The difference is the background right here.
Want something light?
Huh?
Do you need something?
Well, I don't know what I could even set up there. Did that help a bit? Did that help a bit?
Yeah, it's better.
And then if we did the other side, you'd see that too. I don't know if these are actually going to stay up here. And they go flying off. We'll see. All right. So as I said, when you think it disappears, all that means is that what's on the edge and what's behind it's the same value. And so at some point that's bound to happen. But I agree. I think this does look better. So let's go forward like this. All right. Well, you know what? I can't do that. I can't. And the reason I can't do that, this is important. This is important. Let's go back and have this conversation. Let's have this conversation. I now can't judge these subtle values I was working in. Because my eyeballs have adjusted because there's so much light now bouncing back at me. So that's part of the problem with painting on video. For one thing, there's like literally so much light over me. My eyes are blasted out. And so one reason we stain the canvas is because literally your eyes physically change. Does that moon show up on here? No. Right? How bright are these lights now? They're not. Right? How bright is that moon? Barely. You guys see that happen? See, it just changes everything, right? And why people don't like quality work anymore, or one of the reasons, is because they're living on white walls. Nothing looks good on a white wall. Right? Good art doesn't look good on a white wall. Yeah, there's museums that have white walls. Tell them I said so. Right? Anyway, we're not going to go on that tangent. We're not going to go on a tangent, but it's all relative. It's all relative. Right? And I decided a long time ago that just because everybody had white walls, that I was not going to ruin my paintings for their walls. Okay, I think the difference between me and most other people is my commitment is always to this. I have no interest in trying to make something that somebody can hang it on their wall. That zero. I will spend about zero time doing that. But I'll spend about 20 hours a day to try to find and create beauty. Okay, so the question is, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? And what I'm looking for is beauty. Is beauty. And so a lot has to be taken into account like that. And if you're really looking for beauty and you're really willing to go where it takes you, you know, it might be a lonely path. Because most people have white walls. There's just a very few places where this painting's gonna look good. Right, but I don't want to do this for somebody else's wall. That's not fulfilling. That doesn't expand me. It doesn't help me grow. Right? It doesn't help me understand. It doesn't help me appreciate life. Actually, when I do those things, it removes me from life. But when I'm committed to nothing but beauty, that is life. Do you guys? I hope you guys can hear that difference. I've wondered a long time how I could explain what I do different than other people. And the thing is my primary focus is beauty. And not beauty that somebody says, that's cute, I like that. But beauty that stops people and stuns them. Stuns them. Because true beauty freezes you. It stuns you. What does it mean to be stunned? You lose your ego. No point of reference. Direct experience. Okay, now again, I know that's probably way too heavy for most people. But, you know, I'm not telling you have to paint like me, but what I am telling you, if you want to paint well, masterfully, you really do need to think about what you're painting. Right? And it's okay to paint for fun. But that's a whole nother thing than this. Doesn't mean this isn't fun, but it just means my intention is much different. All right, back to paint enough. Wow, where did that come from? Yeah, exactly what it is. But it, you know, I also understand that, you know, I'm closing down a lot of selling opportunities by painting this. Because they're going to take it home. Ah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Sorry. Sorry. Paint, tone your walls. Tone your walls. All right. Enough of my hard-headedness. Let's get back to the painting demo. Let's get back to the painting demo. So where are we at? Where are we at? I feel like there's a little bit up here unresolved. And then I know we definitely need some silhouette work here. This might be left to next time, right? Because this silhouette is so important that it's actually going to take quite a bit of concentration and time to do it right. Yeah, once I'm onto it, it could probably happen within 45 minutes. But, right, we got to study what we want that tree to be like. And I have to come in with clean intention. Then I have to come in and get tuned up on the palette. And then I can execute it. So as you can see, that's no way to pay the bills. That isn't very efficient. Somebody's going to pay me by the hour? Yeah? You're going to buy this for $25,000? Is that what you're saying? Now, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But if I think in those terms about what I make per hour per painting, the quality of my painting is going to die. Because occasionally this stuff just comes out. But at other times there's a lot of waiting around and being very patient. Because just like if you're working, really working, you get up and leave the room. That concept, that vision, right, comes from the muse, from beyond you. Right? The good concepts, you're going to be gone too. You will be gone. Off with you. So I also think that, this style of painting, it can be very, well, for me anyway, it's a challenge promoting yourself when all you ever try to do is leave. Right? So I remember early on, I was trying to find out who the best painter was, who can I go and really study from? And over, I got the answer, at least from painters. At least from painters that knew. That probably the best living painter, nobody has any idea who they are. And that seemed absurd to me. But I don't know, I'm getting more and more convinced. Because this is kind of so antithetical to ego. Public generally wants some sort of ego or something, and that can be hard to deal with. Right, but we're all set. I mean, there's extroverts out there. If you're an extrovert, you can do this, but you're probably going to be doing something different than I am. Why? Because I'm not an extrovert. So introverts are usually attracted to me. And they're the worst at spreading the news. They're the worst. Okay, so we mentioned early on that one of the things about this was that distance on here, right? I think we're getting closer to that. It's seeming a little more distant to me anyway. All right, let us. Yeah, it's also hard to tell people what you're doing if you're not there. So that's another reason it's really hard to really demonstrate. because you got to be hosting a room full of people while you're not present. Doesn't make for the best host. Doesn't make for the best host. How much does it take, really? How much? I mean, really. All right, let's see. You're off to the side, so I can actually stand in front of this thing so that my reflections aren't all crooked. Moon too bright, guys? Am I blinding you? What's up?
Shakti said, "Holy smokes, that's delish, Jason."
Why, thank you. I had nothing to do with it. Trying to have nothing to do with it. I mess everything up. I mess everything up, but as long as I don't try to be the boss, I get along okay. Moonlight on the water. Right? So all of the invisible is what it takes for that to say what it needs to say. To say what it needs to say. And then we looked at all of those moons yesterday. What did we learn? What did we learn from those moons? What did we learn from those moons? Well, we learned that there's a cool light, and then it shows the electric light versus the electric light, which is a warmer light. Warmer and a little bit darker. So let's see if we can't play the difference up between those two. Is that warmer than that? Well, you bet your bottom it is. Bet your bottom dollar. So let's give it a test. Oops, I guess I could have included you guys in that test, but it worked. You're going to see it again. You're going to see it again. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make more of the city lights right here. So that's fun. And then let's have some distant ones over there. So to be off in the distance, that means there's more air between us and them. The air is that sky, the background, the nothingness, the vagueness. So let's just vague that out a little bit. And now that's going to look like those are more distant lights than the ones that are closer to us, because there's more air in them. They're not as clean. They're not as clear because of air. What? Man, you guys are demanding. You guys are demanding. Let me see. Okay, we'll let you see. Alright. Oh. Have I been doing this whole thing without my glasses? Or was that just from the break?
That's from the break.
I do better without my glasses, I think. Yeah, let's finish this without the glasses. Alright, if they're getting in the way, get rid of them. Well, not rid of them, but just take them off. You might need them for something else. Let's see. I'll do this right now, but if you mix a color and it seems dead to you, more alive, you got a warm cadmium. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Don't know why I thought of this. So Susan asked if a color seems dead, should you add a cadmium? You don't really want to think about cadmium like that. So I'm going to say just straight up no on that. Cadmium, you can add a cadmium when you want transparency. Now that doesn't mean that's the only time you can add cadmium, right? But sometimes the cadmiums are colors, and sometimes you're using them as transparency versus surface. So like for the sky, I actually added a good deal of cadmium in there because I want you to be able to look through that, right? See that. And I also did that with the way I handled the paint. But two, I don't want the water to have too much surface on it. Do you notice that what you really see is the light, and the light is actually cool when we compare it. That's a warm green, and that's cool compared to that warm green. Now it looks light, so we think of it as bright, we think of it as yellow, but that's a cooler yellow and a warmer green. So that light is looking like surface, like light reflecting on a surface. Whereas this, hopefully we feel like we can still swim through that, right? And then the key is going to be to come up here and make this seem more surface again, right? Surface enough for silhouette, but that's going to come more from value and edge than anything else. Okie dokie. What's up, baby?
Oh, just Susan was replying.
Yeah.
Saying, got it.
You are welcome. All right, so now I want to kind of slow down and see. I've got to make sure. Seems a little off to me. Is that too much? Was that too much for you guys? Too bright? Anybody getting hurt?
Nope.
Burn any retinas? Alright. I usually wouldn't leave that much on there, but I might. I like to leave things I'm uncomfortable with. Why? Because if you stay in your comfort zone, you never grow. You can scrape it off later, but leave it there for a little while. Leave it. All right, what do we need? What do I need on this? Does this need anything more than a price tag? What do we got? What do we got? Right? The funny thing is if you go slow, you go fast. Did you guys see that happen? Went slow to go fast. I would still like a few things up here worked out. But at this point in the painting, I don't think it's a good idea. It's too wet. So I'm going to let the painting set up. That took me many years, maybe a couple of decades, to get better at. Is rather than keep pushing and pushing and pushing, getting to a stage and leaving it, even if a few things seem a little uncomfortable to me. Like, this is feeling okay, but I'd like another couple steps right there, which I think I just talked myself into what I'm going to do before I stop. I'm going to walk off of this light just a little bit. Just a little bit. So if the light is here, what's it going into? Well, it's going into the water. right? This is our light. It's going into the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a little closer to the water. And we have an orange light and green water. So I might also just get a little blue on there from the sky. Let's go wide there so you guys can see what's going to happen. So you get kind of a better sense of if this is working or not. And I think that breaks up that straight line, right? Want to go kind of across that. That works well. Too big, doesn't take much to do too much. Doesn't take much to do too much. That's feeling better to me. I think that little bit helped. So now let's go over to our electric lights. And again, what is it doing? Well, it's going into that green water. So I can just take a little bit of that green. All right, get that just a bit darker than what we were using. And then again, I think I'm going to grab a little bit of that blue. Get a little bit of that influence on there too. Okay, so what I did was the step was too tall, so I just pulled up some chairs next to it. Pulled up a chair next to it so I could step off without hurting myself. Not too bad for a foggy start. Not too bad for starting off foggy. Or am I still foggy and this looks gross?
Very moody and enchanting.
Ooh, I got a moody and enchanting. I usually only just get a moody. So, this is good. And we're usually talking about my personality, not my paintings.
Stop.
Let's just get a little activity going off of here. That light. Yeah.
Shocking. That's awesome. That was good.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll see if we can bag that up and get some to you. I don't know. I would give it away. Yeah, you know, and sometimes that's the thing. It's when you don't feel like painting that you're in the zone that you need to be in. So give it a chance. Give yourself a little chance. All right, I think I'm giving it a good look, but I feel like I probably Do we want to leave that here right now? Is that where we want to leave this? You know what I do sometimes too? Do I have? I don't think we do have any 12 by 16 frames. We don't. I like to put a frame in front of it too, and you can get a look at it. All right, I think that's it today. I think it will end a few minutes early, but this is a good stopping point. I'll be happy to stick around for a couple of minutes. If you guys have questions on anything, I'll engage with you guys for a little while because I didn't fry myself from painting up to the very end of my energy. But the other part of it is knowing when to stop, even as you're not completely finished, but just like, okay, this is it for this step. Oh yeah, we've got other things going on in our life. Facebook. So we're going to be sketching Sketch Club tonight. On Sketch Club, I'm actually studying for a painting that I've been working on for years already on Izzy, and we're studying some little details on that, and we're doing some little sketches on that. So you can join us tonight and tomorrow night for Sketch Club from 7 to 7:30 on Facebook. Tomorrow morning we'll be back and we're going to do the still life. Ooh, the still life. Look.
Yep.
So we'll do the still life. We're going to start here tomorrow and see how far we can get our still life going tomorrow, and that'll be a lot of fun. And that'll be it for the day 2 week. Friday will be your turn. Send in your day 2s, and we'll have Friday feedback in class on Friday. Is that it, baby? Did I forget anything?
You got it.
So Cindy tells me I got it all. So if you like what you hear, you like some to study, whether you're new or very experienced, our 3-month course, we're going to have you covered. If you're not sure about committing, I will personally give you a money back guarantee. If you come, you show up, you stick around for the 3 months, I'm happy to give you your money back. If you get in for the first month and go, this isn't for me, happy. But I think what you'll find is I've tried to set up a course where you can pick and choose what you want. If you want a complete education and you want to really be a painter, it's all there. You're going to have to work, but the information is there and the exercises are there and the opportunity for feedback is there. If you want to do it casual, that's good too. But it's up to you of how intense you engage. And that's what makes it great. And if you don't want to engage, you can just sit in and watch. You can watch it all happen. Anyway, that starts August 2nd. Hope you'll join us for that. And until then, we'll be back tonight at 7 and in the morning at 8 a.m. for the Still Life. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Shakti. Appreciate that. You guys have a great day. Get in that studio and do day 2. All right. Do it. Even if you don't feel like it, do it. All right. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.